Yes. Alright, what's up? This is a test tutorial. I'm just going to do a very quick and dirty suspension for a car or whatever. Purpose of this tutorial, if it will finish, is just to test things for later tutorials. Um, so let's see. It's a bit too small. Let's try this. So we're just gonna do a really basic suspension. Probably not the best way to do it, but it works pretty well. So this is just a base plate, right? Your vehicle, obviously, will probably be different. And I'm just gonna grab some wheels, size 25s. And the reason it is coloring and materialing everything I spawn is because of Colormator. This nice little tool here. You can have it spawn anything with a material and color. I often do this for S props. It's a better judge of size. So you know, remove it. It's kind of confusing with all the boxes. Each one of these boxes is 6 inches, and use the S-prop texture to change it to 1 foot. It can be kind of annoying, so let's turn that shit off. Okay, maybe the base plate's a bit too big. So let's try something a bit smaller. I also use Fizzgun build mode. That's what's spamming in the left there. So I'm just gonna stick a random wheel here. And then I'm going to use Stacker to create another one. The other ones. And then we're gonna mirror it to the other side. Hit pose plus hit normal. Center of the chassis, then hit normal. Click the side of the chassis. Select one of the wheels. Rotation functions, mirror across plane, plane 1, hold shift, and press rotate entity. And shift and right click to repeat the last action. Okay, so now that we got this, we can put some ropes. Actually, I'm gonna change the weight first. Let's just make it 300 kilograms. And each wheel 50 kilos. And then, oh, I almost forgot. I want to make them spheres first. See, this is why a test tutorial. Don't really constrain wheels and then turn them into a sphere. Turn them into a sphere first, and after you sphere some wheels, that was my first time opening Advanced Duplicator here, so it's going to freeze. Select your shit and respawn it. What that does for the spheres is if you grab a sphere that is not duped, it will crash the server. So, okay, some ropes. Precision alignment. So we're going to go to mass center. I'm going to click the wheel. You know, just one of them. Let's say the passenger front. And then we're going to shift click the opposite wheel. And then you're going to right click your base, hold C, and go to attach. So now it's going to attach point 2 to the chassis, but not the wheel. But it's going to create the rope at the position of the wheel. So then we're going to go to constraints, and go over to rope, select point 1 and point 2. Make sure you have rigid selected. Normally these are invisible, but I'm going to make them visible. And then it creates the rope. See, now that that rope goes to that wheel, it's not actually connected to the wheel. It's just the position of the wheel. Whenever you use precision alignment, I always use props to place points for things because it's much faster than, you know, going and manually moving the points with this bullshit. Fuck that. Okay, so now we need the other arm of the suspension. Suspension. I'm going to go over here and click point 2, click delete. It deletes the second point, but not the first one. Don't delete that one. Okay, and then with mass center selected again, you're gonna shift left click this back wheel here. And I always, you know, select the base again, press attach, do the same thing, create a rope. Now you have this nice L-shaped thing going on here. And then just gonna do advanced ball socket here to show you how that works. Since this is the X, 180, I don't actually know if I built this in the right direction. Let's check. Yes, it did. The top side of a spray always faces north. You can either build north or south. It doesn't matter, just as long as there's one of those. Okay, advanced ball socket. For X, which is the rotation, negative 180, 180. And then for Y, it's going to be negative 0.0001. 3 zeros. No less, no more. I don't think you can use it anymore, but any less, it does make a difference. So from the minimums, negative, positives, positive. Make sure free movement and no collider checked, no friction. And then click the base first, and then the wheel. And then no collide at all, so things don't do bad things. We'll spawn it to test it. Oh shit! Look at that. This is a fairly tough suspension too. I don't think it does very well with high-speed wobble. That's more of a design of the physical entities on your contraption. The more physical things you have, the more physics will oscillate and bad things happen. So just throw that over there. Yeah. Now we will do the rest of the wheels. So mass center on the wheel, and then shift left click again on the opposite wheel. And then, even though this is selected, I always select it again because sometimes it attaches to the world when you delete the points. So there we go. Create another rope. And now we're going to do this wheel over here. So delete the number 2 point. Create it again. Attach the point. Very important that you attach the point, or else it's going to just do it to the entity or the world. So create it again. Okay, now we're going to do the back right wheel. Attach it. Oops. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, it's already attached. I'm retarded. Create. And now I create the other point over there. Attach. Create again. Okay, and one more wheel. This wheel right here. I think. I don't know if I did it already. I have the brain of a goldfish. Delete the point. Create it again. Attach. And I'm going to attach my ball socket to every wheel. Normally the front wheels would go to your setting, slave, or whatever you have for steering. Oh, I did it right. Cool. Well, there you go. Look at that. It's a basic ass suspension. You don't need any extra points for the suspension or anything like that. Fairly stable, like I said. Looks like a scissor lift. But I've used this on a number of vehicles, and it seems to work pretty well. Okay, so the next step would be the elastics or hydraulics. I always use hydraulics. So you will need a reference point for the top of the shocks. Now you can use the wheels again. The way I usually do it is I stacker the wheels up in the air. Like that. The taller the shock, the stronger it will be without having to add constant to it. But it will also kind of put a lot more stress on your base plate. When you have a lightweight base plate, it can cause some bad handling characteristics. It can make it wobble. And you gotta increase the base weight when that happens. And then I just kind of shove them inwards a bit to create some angle on the shock. I'm nudging them with precision alignment 100%. So there we go. I got some points like that. You're gonna go over to, let's see, we got wire hydraulic. You can just click the wheel, click the other wheel. It doesn't matter where. You can create a hydraulic anywhere, and it doesn't matter because precision alignment will set the positions. Okay, so now we got the controllers. So we go over here to precision alignment. Delete all your points. And then let's start with the driver left wheel. So mass center point there. And then again, you're going to attach this point to the base. So attach, and then you right click the controller for the hydraulic, press your R menu, go to wire hydraulic, point 1 and point 2. I'm going to give it some thickness and then create constraint. And now it has put the hydraulic right there where it goes. And do the same thing here. Once you do this a million times, it's pretty quick. You can also do this with elastics. I prefer hydraulics because I can tweak them on the go. They act a bit different than elastics. I just like this better. Okay, so now we got that. They have just default settings. You can use an expression to set those. Obviously, this is not going to work right. Oh, look, I fucked it up. That's what happens when you don't attach it to the base. Well, that's okay. We don't have to delete the hydraulic. I'm going to create a point there. Create the point there again. Select the base. Press attach. Right-click your controller. And then create constraint. And I think it should replace it. And yes, it did. Now the default settings are actually working. That's funny. You obviously want to make them different. Some notes with the hydraulics. The maximum constant is 50,000, and I believe the maximum damping is about 12,000. When you set up an expression for this, let's see if I got one laying around here. Suspension control. Okay, so what I have here is like the front length, because the length modifies the constant. The more length you have, the stronger the hydraulic is. So if your car is sagging and the constant is not enough, raise this. This is also how you can control the ride height of the vehicle. This is why I like hydraulics. So you don't have to remove the elastic, do it over again. Then we have the damping right here. The maximum is about 12,000, I think. I usually use between 2,000 to 4,000. Just depends on how heavy the car is. If you underdamp a vehicle, when you hit a bump, it will send it out of control. If you overdamp a vehicle, it will also go out of control. Just remember that damping really helps grip. It's probably the most important thing. But Gary's mod doesn't have the two types of damping the real cars have, which is bump and rebound, which means you have a certain damping for the suspension compressing and a damping for when it expands. You can control the rate at which the car expands, which usually makes it more stable. So that's it. That's how I do suspension. Basic suspension anyways. A vehicle I made that has this, if I can find it. Where did it go? I'll call it the Spanker. It's just a little buggy I made for a combat server. Wait for the holograms to load. Okay, and then constraint info is one of my favorite tools. Click the wheel. See these yellow lines right here are the ropes. These blue lines are some advanced ball sockets. Ignore that. Some no collide bullshit. But yeah, use the same exact suspension setup. And it is stable until about 80 miles an hour, I believe. I don't have a speedometer on this, but it goes about 80 miles an hour. But as you can see, it is completely rock solid and stable, despite being rear engine. I think it will start to oscillate and wobble around 100 miles an hour. That is because of the suspension. So yeah, that's it for this tutorial. This is just a little test tutorial. When I do tank building tutorials, we will use a different method of suspension. It doesn't really work for multiple wheeled vehicles. See, I'll get a little bit of shimmy there, a tiny bit. We'll just dance until I crash into something. Vroom.